The rain fell in slow rhythm over the ancient field where the seeker of truth stood, staring at the half-buried capsule. Edward said, "This can't be just coincidence. It was meant to be found now." His heart raced as mud clung to his boots. The capsule's bronze shell was scarred by time, etched with strange markings glinting in lightning flashes. Edward whispered, "These symbols feel older than anything I've seen." He wiped the surface, his breath misting in the cold. From the ridge above, Amelia said, "You're chasing ghosts again, Edward." He ignored her cautious tone. His hands trembled as he pressed the capsule's seam, hearing a hollow echo within. "No ghost could leave this," Edward muttered, eyes burning with obsession. Amelia sighed, rain dripping from her hair. "If you open it, there's no turning back." Edward clenched his jaw. "Truth doesn't wait, Amelia. It hides until someone dares to see." The storm eased briefly, leaving silence that felt heavier than thunder. Edward said, "This capsule has been waiting for us." Amelia whispered, "Or warning us." The bronze surface seemed alive, glowing faintly under cloud breaks. Edward pressed his palm firmly, listening to echoes inside. His breath quickened. "It's hollow." Amelia's voice carried fear. "Not every silence needs breaking." Edward smiled faintly, "But this one demands it." The capsule hummed, low and unsettling. Amelia stepped back, clutching her coat, her face pale. Edward muttered, "Every secret buried wants air." Lightning flickered again, painting both in ghostly light. The moment stretched unbearably long. The air shifted as the ground trembled beneath their feet. Edward said, "It's awakening." Amelia shouted, "Stop, Edward!" Mud slid as vibrations rippled across the field. The capsule's seam widened, faint mist escaping like breath from ancient lungs. Edward leaned closer, eyes wild, whispering, "It's speaking to us." Amelia reached out, grabbing his arm, voice shaking, "Don't let obsession blind you." Edward pulled away, determination burning in him. "Truth is not gentle, Amelia," he said. The capsule groaned, echoing deep, metallic, alive. The wind howled, carrying strange whispers. Amelia's expression froze between fear and disbelief. Edward staggered as a sudden flash revealed carvings on the inner seam. Edward said, "These symbols, they match the ancient scripts." Amelia whispered, "No one alive should know this." The markings pulsed faintly, golden light piercing rain. Edward's hand trembled as he traced them. His lips quivered. "It's a message written for someone like me." Amelia shook her head, stepping back. "Or a trap meant to devour the curious," she warned. Edward exhaled, eyes locked in trance. Every riddle is a call to be answered. The capsule groaned again, mist curling upward, chilling their breath. The storm suddenly calmed as though the world held its breath. Edward whispered, "It's listening." Amelia's trembling voice broke the silence. "Some truths are better left untouched." Edward stared at her, torn between fear and obsession. "Then why does it feel like it's calling me?" he asked. The capsule throbbed faintly, sending ripples across puddles. Amelia backed away, her voice shaking. "Because it knows you'll answer." Edward turned back, kneeling, forehead nearly touching the bronze. "And I will," he muttered. The capsule vibrated louder as if alive, the first act of its secret beginning. Morning light broke over the drenched field, painting mist across the horizon. Edward said, "The capsule isn't done with us." Amelia replied softly, "Neither am I with you." The bronze shell no longer glowed, but faint etchings lingered like scars of the night's storm. Edward crouched, sketching symbols into his notebook, his hand shaking. "They are fragments of an ancient tongue," he muttered. Amelia stood behind him, arms crossed, her voice sharp, or hallucinations born of obsession. Edward paused, his breath shallow. "No, these words are structured, deliberate." He pressed pencil harder. Amelia whispered, "And dangerous." The silence afterward felt heavier than rain. Edward sat hunched over a wooden desk in his study, old manuscripts scattered around. "It's not just language," he said, tracing faded pages. Amelia sat by the window, weary eyes watching rain-streaked glass. She muttered, "You're stitching madness from scraps." Edward turned sharply. "No, it's a cipher. A warning written centuries ahead of its time." Candlelight flickered across his face, shadowing his intensity. Amelia whispered, "Warnings are made to be heeded, not cracked open." Edward slammed his palm on the desk, startling her. "Every puzzle has a key, Amelia. This one chose me." Amelia's voice cracked. "And what if it destroys you?" Later, Edward walked along the archive's marble corridors, his footsteps echoing. Amelia followed reluctantly, whispering, "This is where curiosity turns into burial." Edward brushed ancient tomes, whispering, "Every secret leaves a trail." They halted at a locked chamber door marked with faded sigils matching the capsule. Edward's eyes gleamed. "This is it." Amelia's voice cracked, "Don't do this." He pressed a hand against the cold iron lock. "If the capsule speaks of this place, it wants to be remembered." Amelia tugged his sleeve. "Edward, some doors close for a reason," he whispered. "Then I'll be the one who opens them." The lock broke with a dull groan, revealing shelves thick with dust. Edward whispered, "Forgotten but waiting." Amelia coughed at stale air, muttering, "Some things are forgotten for mercy's sake." Edward lit his lantern, illuminating scrolls and relics etched with matching symbols. His hands trembled as he lifted one parchment. "This predates the capsule," he said. Amelia's eyes widened. "Then it's a lineage of madness." Edward smiled faintly, "Or a map across time." He traced the parchment with reverence, whispering, "They left instructions, breadcrumbs for seekers." Amelia's voice shook. "And for what end, Edward? What price for your truth?" Hours later, Edward pinned translations to his study wall, parchment fragments forming a cryptic pattern. Amelia said, "You're building a maze." Edward whispered, "I'm building a path." His eyes darted from symbol to symbol, connecting threads with trembling fingers. "They speak of other capsules," he said, voice almost reverent. Amelia exhaled sharply. "More traps waiting for you." Edward's voice cracked with awe. "No, revelations waiting for us all." Candle flames flickered violently, papers rattling like whispers of approval. Amelia muttered, "This is where obsession swallows men whole." Edward stood firm, staring at the wall. "Or where truth is finally unburied." Edward paced the library's dim aisle, whispering, "The trail grows sharper." Amelia frowned, "And the danger grows darker." From the shadows, Professor Calder emerged, voice calm, "Truth comes with guardians." Edward turned sharply, "And lies come with masks." Calder smiled thinly, "Not lies, boundaries." Amelia's voice trembled. "Why are you here?" Calder's eyes gleamed. "Because you dig where graves should stay sealed." Edward muttered, "Knowledge buried is a crime against the future." Calder stepped closer, his tone measured. "Knowledge unbound can drown the present." The silence after his words pressed heavier than the ancient books. Edward's voice sharpened. "You've known of the capsules." Calder replied evenly, "Longer than you imagine." Amelia whispered, "So the secrets were never lost, only hidden." Calder's eyes flickered with control, "Hidden for survival." Edward slammed a fist on a desk. "Survival is not silence." Calder's tone hardened. "You think uncovering them brings salvation. No, it invites ruin." Amelia gasped. "Then you fear the truth." Calder stepped closer, towering. "I preserve it," he said coldly. Edward spat. "No, you hoard it like a tyrant." Calder's lips curled. "And tyrants live longer than dreamers, Edward." Edward's voice lowered. "If you guard truth, then show it." Calder smirked. "Not to one who worships obsession." Amelia pleaded, "Edward, listen. He holds more than defiance, he holds warnings." Edward's eyes burned. "Warnings are weapons in disguise." Calder paced slowly, voice echoing, "These capsules were forged to test men like you. Many failed. Most never returned." Edward's jaw tightened. "Then I want fail." Calder stopped, his voice chilling. "Every seeker believes that, before the abyss swallows them." The tension froze, even the air, Amelia's breathing shallow as silence stretched. Edward leaned closer, whispering, "If the capsules carry death, then why do you guard them instead of destroying them?" Calder's eyes glinted. "Because destruction erases, but guardianship controls." Amelia stepped between them, voice firm. "Control is fear wearing a crown." Calder studied her, amused. "You underestimate the weight of keeping worlds intact." Edward spat. "You underestimate resolve." Calder's expression hardened. "Resolve is tinder, truth is wildfire." Amelia whispered, "Then why does the fire frighten you?" Calder's silence was louder than thunder. His jaw tight as shadows swallowed his face. Edward said with steel in his voice, "I will not stop. No secret belongs chained." Calder's tone dropped to ice. "Then every step you take leads deeper into a grave already dug." Amelia's voice cracked. "Edward, hear him." Edward stared straight at Calder, eyes unblinking. "I'd rather die knowing than live silenced." Calder smirked faintly. "Then the abyss is hungry." The candles flickered violently as if echoing his words. Amelia shivered, clutching her coat tighter. Silence draped the chamber heavy as stone. Edward whispered, "Truth waits, and I will answer." Calder's eyes narrowed, unreadable. The rain had stopped, leaving streets slick with reflection, as Edward hurried through the city's silent alleys. Amelia followed, her voice edged with exhaustion. "Where are you leading us now?" Edward replied, "To someone who claims to know more." At a dim cafe corner, a man rose from shadow. Marcus, his smile warm yet sharp. "Edward," Marcus said smoothly, "still chasing ghosts." Edward clasped his hand firmly, "And still finding trails." Amelia's eyes narrowed. "And who exactly are you to know them?" Marcus chuckled softly. "An old friend with new truths to offer." The warmth in his tone hid something colder. Inside the cafe's back room, the light was low, the air heavy with old smoke. Edward leaned forward. "The capsules. You've seen them?" Marcus swirled his glass slowly, eyes glinting. "I've seen enough to know they're not myths." Amelia's voice sharpened. "And enough to know the danger?" Marcus smiled faintly. "Danger is only the shadow of discovery." Edward whispered, "Then help me trace the next." Marcus paused, then leaned closer, his tone silky. "I can, but only if you trust me." Amelia's jaw tightened, whispering, "Trust is the first key thieves steal." Marcus's eyes flickered. Unreadable. Edward spread parchment fragments across the table, tracing lines with trembling hands. "They map something larger," he said. Marcus leaned in, nodding. "Yes, a sequence like constellations buried in earth." Amelia frowned, "Or snares laid carefully." Edward's voice rose. "It's direction, not deception." Marcus's tone softened. "Edward, your brilliance makes paths from ashes, but even ashes burn." Amelia muttered, "He speaks in riddles because riddles hide intent." Marcus smirked, "Or reveal it, if you dare look deeper." Edward's eyes burned. "Then guide me." Marcus's silence was almost agreement, but his gaze darted away, hiding something. Marcus lowered his voice. "The keeper knows you, Edward. He waits for you to stumble." Edward replied sharply, "Then I'll never give him the satisfaction." Amelia said, "And what if Marcus leads you straight to him?" Marcus's expression softened, almost offended. "Amelia, suspicion is a sharp blade. Hold it too long and it cuts your own hand." Edward whispered, "He's right about one thing. The keeper watches." Marcus leaned closer. "Then let me help you outrun him." Amelia's voice turned cold. "Or help him catch us faster." Marcus's smile lingered, though his eyes grew colder. Edward stood, gathering fragments, his voice firm. "Then we move forward, with or without shadows." Marcus rose too, his tone persuasive. "Then let me be your lantern." Amelia said, "Or your leash." Edward shot her a warning look, whispering, "Every truth risks betrayal." Marcus's smirk flickered into something darker before vanishing. "You'll see, Edward," Marcus said smoothly. "I'm your ally." Amelia's gaze never left him, muttering, "Allies who smile too much usually hide the knife." Edward exhaled, torn between hope and dread. The room felt colder as Marcus's shadow loomed behind them. The small rural chapel smelled of dust and forgotten prayers. Edward whispered, "She holds the key." Amelia frowned, "Or she holds another chain." At the altar, Clara stood quietly, her hands trembling, as she held a faded photograph. Clara said softly, "My father vanished chasing these same symbols." Edward's voice sharpened. "Then you've seen them before?" Clara nodded, tears burning her eyes. "Yes, carved into the walls of our home long before the capsule appeared." Amelia muttered, "Then your family has been cursed by them." Clara's voice broke, "No curse, only loss." The silence pressed with unbearable weight. Clara placed the photo on the altar, whispering, "He said the symbols were guiding him to something eternal." Edward leaned forward. "Did he find it?" Clara's voice cracked. "He found only silence and never returned." Amelia whispered, "Another victim of obsession." Edward said firmly, "Or the first breadcrumb in a buried map." Clara's hands shook as she revealed a scrap of parchment hidden in the photo frame. "He left this," she said. Edward's eyes widened. "It's another piece." Amelia sighed sharply. "Every piece brings us closer to ruin." Clara whispered, "Or closer to him." Edward spread the parchment open, tracing its symbols with awe. "It aligns with the capsule's markings," he muttered. Clara's voice trembled. He believed unlocking them would free a hidden truth. Amelia said bitterly, "And it imprisoned him instead." Edward's jaw tightened. "He was close, I can feel it." Clara's tears glistened as she whispered, "He told me one day the truth would demand another soul." Amelia gasped. "He knew the cost." Edward replied firmly, "And yet he followed anyway." Clara's voice cracked, "And now I fear I must follow too." Silence thickened around her fragile confession. Clara stepped away, clutching her chest, whispering, "I hear him in the silence still." Edward said gently, "He left you the path, Clara." Amelia shook her head. "No, he left her grief." Clara turned, her face pale yet resolute. "If his pain began with the capsule, mine will end with it." Edward's voice carried steel. "Then let me carry this instead." Clara's eyes glistened. "You can't carry what was written into my blood." Amelia whispered, "She's tied to it deeper than we can understand." Clara closed her eyes, whispering, "Then perhaps I was born to finish it." Clara knelt before the altar, placing both hands on the parchment, her whisper steady, "If this is my burden, then it is my purpose." Edward crouched beside her, voice heavy. "No, Clara, it doesn't have to consume you." Amelia said firmly, "Obsession devours, Clara. Don't let it." Clara shook her head. "Obsession isn't what binds me. Love is." Edward's expression softened. "Love for him drove you here." Clara's tears fell. "And love will carry me further." Amelia muttered, "Or it will break you." Clara's eyes shone fiercely. "Then let it break me if it reveals the truth he died chasing." The night stretched cold as Edward pinned Clara's parchment beside the others, threads forming a fractured map. "Us," Amelia whispered, "each piece sharpens the knife against us." Marcus leaned in, voice steady, "Or sharpens the key to unlock everything." Edward said, "It leads to the final capsule." Clara's face paled. "The same one my father sought." Edward turned, eyes fierce. "Then his trail becomes ours." Amelia's suspicion lingered, or Marcus's snare tightens. Marcus smiled faintly. "Trust binds paths or breaks them." The flickering lantern cast shadows across their faces, each one hiding its own truth. Edward whispered, "The symbols converge here," pointing to a marked ruin on the parchment. Marcus leaned closer. "Then tomorrow, destiny awakens." Clara's voice cracked. "My father vanished at that ruin." Amelia said coldly, "And Marcus seems eager to lead us there." Marcus smirked. "Suspicion is your anchor, Amelia. Let go, or you'll never sail." Edward clenched his jaw. "We can't ignore the trail." Clara whispered, "Even if the trail ends in graves?" Edward replied, "Especially then." The silence left a bitter taste. lanterns dimming as the map glowed faintly like it pulsed with life. At the edge of the ruins, moonlight cut across broken stone. Edward whispered, "This is it." Clara's voice trembled, "I feel him here." Amelia scanned the shadows, muttering, "Or something waiting for us." From the darkness Elara appeared, cloaked, voice sharp yet melodic. "You chase truths too heavy to carry." Edward stepped forward. "Then why do you guard them?" Elara's piercing gaze met his, "Because truth unbound devours its seeker." Marcus's lips curled faintly, watching her too closely. Amelia whispered, "Another guardian, or another deceiver." Elara's silence weighed heavier than words. Edward's voice steadied, "If you know, then guide us." Elara replied, "I will guide, but I will not save." Clara whispered, "She speaks like my father once did." Amelia muttered, "And he was lost." Marcus smirked faintly, perhaps he walked too close to light. Elara's eyes cut toward him, and some hide deeper in shadow. Edward's jaw tightened, "Then speak plainly. Where is it?" Elara raised her hand, pointing toward the collapsed stair below the ruins. "Beneath what was buried twice," she said. The wind howled through stone, carrying echoes like lost voices. They descended into the ruins, torches flickering against stone walls carved with symbols. Edward whispered, "It waits here." Clara touched the carvings, tears glistening. "My father carved these last." Amelia said sharply. "Then he left a warning." Marcus smirked faintly, "Or an invitation." Elara's voice echoed, "Every warning is both." Edward pressed his hand against the stone, symbols glowing faintly under touch. "The final capsule," he breathed. Amelia muttered, "Or the final grave." Clara whispered, "His hand still lingers here." Elara's eyes narrowed, "And soon you will see what price was paid to leave it." The chamber trembled, stone cracking as dust rained from the ceiling, and a massive bronze capsule emerged, pulsing faintly like a living heart beneath the ruins. Edward whispered, "It's the last, the one everything pointed to." His voice shook, but determination steadied his stance. Clara stumbled forward, collapsing to her knees, tears streaking down her pale cheeks. "He was here," she sobbed, clutching her chest as though her father's voice pressed through her. Amelia's voice broke through the silence, sharp and unwavering, "And so is death, Edward. Every secret drags graves behind it." Marcus' smile widened with quiet hunger, or perhaps not death, perhaps triumph, perhaps the crown of all seekers. Elara's tone sliced through, calm yet merciless. "Every triumph leaves only ash." Edward's jaw clenched as his trembling hand hovered over the capsule's seam. "This ends tonight." Clara grabbed his arm desperately, whispering, "Or it begins again as it did with him." Amelia muttered bitterly, "Every truth births curses more than blessings." Edward's gaze hardened, "Then let me bear them alone." The chamber's silence deepened, waiting. Edward pressed both palms firmly against the capsule, the ancient bronze symbols glowing like rivers of fire across its shell. The ground vibrated, echoing like a heartbeat. Marcus leaned closer, whispering with unhidden eagerness, "Now, Edward, open it. Claim what history denied us." Amelia snapped, eyes narrowing. "He pushes because he waits to take everything from you." Marcus smirked, his tone silky. "I wait to save what you fear to touch." Clara's cry cut sharp. "My father," said the same words before he vanished forever. Edward shouted, his voice breaking with force, "Then I will not vanish. I will carve truth where he could not." Elara's calm voice rang through the chamber. "The capsule does not give, it consumes, and it will consume you too." Edward's chest heaved, his reply raw, "Then let it consume me, not them." Marcus's eyes flashed darker, his words dripping like poison, "Or let it consume us all, and crown me at the end." The capsule pulsed violently, voices whispering from within like the dead had found their tongues. The air grew crushing. The capsule cracked, golden light searing outward like a wound torn through the stone chamber. Clara gasped, clutching her chest. Father's voice. "It's here. I hear him in the light." Amelia shielded her face, screaming, "It's no voice. It's a trap meant to devour us. Marcus lunged forward with desperate hunger, shouting, "No, it's power, endless power beyond kings and keepers." Edward blocked him, standing firm, his body silhouetted by the glow. "It's knowledge," he cried, "truth too long denied." Alara's cloak whipped in the wind of the light, her voice colder than the stone, and knowledge kills faster than blades. The chamber shook, as if the earth itself wanted to collapse, stones crashing from the ceiling. Clara fell to her knees, sobbing. "He called me here for this moment," Edward whispered hoarsely, "or he warned you away with silence." Marcus lunged again, eyes blazing, but Edward shoved him back violently. "Not yours, Marcus, never yours." Rage twisted Marcus's face, the hidden betrayal finally clear. Marcus staggered but rose again, fury seething in every movement. "You would deny me after I carried you this far, after everything I've given you?" he roared. Edward's eyes burned. "You gave us nothing but lies wrapped in loyalty." Amelia's voice cracked as she shouted, "He was the snake from the very start. We let him coil too close." Marcus sneered, stepping closer. "I was the only one with courage to want what it promised. The rest of you only feared it." Clara sobbed, her voice breaking. "My father wanted it too, and it devoured him whole." Alara raised her hand, her words echoing, "And it will devour you as well, Marcus." Edward lunged forward, his hand slamming the capsule shut as Marcus reached for it, his voice thunderous, "Better regret than ruin." Marcus clawed forward, snarling, "You'll regret this forever." The walls shook with fire as the symbols burned, casting light across their strained faces. Betrayal stood exposed and truth seared through them like flame. The chamber's fury calmed as the capsule sealed again, the glow fading until only cold bronze remained. Edward collapsed to his knees, whispering hoarsely, "It stays buried, sealed for good." Clara touched the capsule, tears streaking her cheeks. "Then my father's voice is gone forever," she sobbed. Amelia stepped forward, her tone softer. "Or he is finally at peace, Clara." Marcus stood in the shadows, his face twisted with rage and despair. "You chose silence over power," he spat bitterly. Edward's head lifted, his voice calm but heavy. "No, I chose truth unspoken over lies unleashed." Alara's eyes glimmered in the dim, her tone like stone. "Some truths must remain beneath time's skin, or they will poison all who touch them." Clara pressed her palm against the bronze surface, whispering brokenly, "Then so shall he rest, and so shall I remember." Edward closed his eyes, exhausted, his voice almost a vow, "And so shall we, until the next seeker dares." The silence that followed felt louder than thunder.